Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, a solo gameplay of Marathon. I thought I'd just drop this gameplay, showcasing what the solo experience is like before the full release of the game in the next couple of days, and kind of talk about what I think about the solo experience of this game, and also some more thoughts about this game overall. So in this game, as you can see, I have spawned in solo, started the raid. I am running the recon character here, and you can see here already, like with the way the enemy AI is, it is very overwhelming, and I feel like it's a really good challenge. Now, there's a lot of different weapons and a lot of ways you can handle these enemies. You can see here I'm running through health already. I talked about in the last one, I feel like they need to have way more like health heals on the map, and just maybe the health economy needs to be improved. I do like the way that you can tactically fight against the AI here, and I do get into an engagement here with my first runner and then a third party. So you can see here, like, the enemy AI has kind of shifted its focus. You can hear shots out the back from somewhere else, and that's when I've kind of, stealthed in here. Now my ability's up, I'm able to use my robot here. You could see the player there crossing, chuck this here, and I really do like the engagements with enemy runners. I feel like this is really good combat, it's really fun. You can see here I just managed to get this guy down, and I'm immediately third party. But the thing I don't really like there is this guy, whoever is the third partier here, takes my kill, and you'll see that at the end of the game. I don't get credit for 2 runner eliminations, which you can quite clearly see that I take down that guy, and then this guy just managed to completely outplay with some strafe. I feel like I had a faster firing gun, managed to kill this guy as well. So that's, pretty action-packed. This is within the first minute and a half. I've already had 2 runner engagements, killed a couple of bots, first POI, now I get to loot. I feel like the looting here, I don't really know how I feel about the looting. I feel like it's a little bit slow, a little bit tedious, and the backpack space fills up super quick. Also right here, you can see I'm literally just taking everything. I feel like in a sponsored kit, sometimes you get shields that don't quite give the same benefits there. You can see it was -5. However, I'm not too sure if it's just the same for every single thing or not. I don't know. I feel like you have to read a lot in the game. So just to know the difference between some of the items, like these cores, these implants, the weapon chips and all that kind of stuff, you really just have to read and figure out what's going on. And I don't know if you've actually got time for that during the game. So anyway, now we're getting off to looting, and there's not really too much going on. And you can see up in the top left hand corner the time kind of stamp, so you'll see how much time between some of these cuts that I make is. And I'm just leaving this in here because you can see here I'm trying to figure out like what these items do. Now I know this is a teething issue. This is going to be at the very start of this game. People are going to be figuring out what each part does. But see here, like I've got to read each one of these things and like figure out which one's going to be the best for each weapon. And like, yes, that's cool. There's going to be a lot of build crafting, a lot of versatility with each weapon, which I think is a really cool aspect. I just wish there was like a much simpler way to know, hey, this is worth putting on this gun. This is definitely what you should be looking out for. These items are worth stacking, whatever it may be. I also feel like the map is really nice. I've talked about that in the last video too. The environments are really unique. The art style is really beautiful. I think each environment kind of is eerie. And in solos, it really does almost feel like a bit of a horror experience where you're like, man, something or like a whole group of bots could just pop out and completely destroy me. So the combat in that way it does feel really fun. And as you can see here, this map looks beautiful. So this is another really interesting moment here. I managed to like move on to the next POI. You can see in the top left hand corner it's been about 4 minutes since my last 5 minutes since my last engagement. Now another 30 seconds has popped off as I'm waiting for this supply drop to come in. So I'm just checking my back here, and I want to check this area, and this is a cool moment here. See up the top, I thought this was an enemy runner here. The way that they approached, where they were crouch walking up, overwatching the supply drop, that's what an enemy player would do. So obviously this is not, because this bot is missing a lot of shots on me, and I was just like, is this a player or not? They're kind of going back and forth. It is a very tanky UASC enemy, had a blue shield, so yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. The enemy AI, they do, like, I've mistaken them for players quite a number of times, and that is what a real person would do. They would overwatch, overlook, wait for the moment, and see here I use my ultimate ability just to make sure that there's no one around. This ultimate I really do like. I feel like it's one of the strongest ones. You get, I think, 5 or 6 pings to let you know how many threats are in the area, and it does ping through walls. It also stays kind of on you, so as you run, like, you can like move your scanning ability as well. So that's really cool. I think this is definitely one of the stronger ones. I don't know if I like the kit overall as a solo. I feel like Assassin was definitely the way to go with the invisibility. Every single time I got killed in a solo was by an invisible player, and that's something they definitely need to balance out as well. It's like, how do you balance invis? I don't really know. Again here, like, I'm having to read through each of these things, and I just feel like the inventory space definitely needs to be bigger. I did find one purple bag in my playthrough, but I just feel like there wasn't like a reliable loot source where you could be like, yes, this is the place that I definitely want to go, and I'm going to get good stuff each time. Now, I know I probably, don't need all of these meds or whatever, but I feel like in previous games I was just running out of meds. If you have one of those kind of free kits, you don't really have meds, so it was just like stacking up things, and you just never have room to take, another gun or another shield or another, big item. So, yeah, once again, we'll see. Now you can see here we're down to 12 minutes. Still, it's been now nearly 10 minutes since my last player engagement. Actual, like, PvP, and I've been pretty loud. Like, I've shot enemies, I have called in a supply drop, I've been out in the open. I'm now just taking on some of these enemies just because I feel like I can't remember exactly, but I had this blue dot popped up and I was like, I wonder what this is. So I'm making a lot of noise, and I just feel like they definitely need more player activity on the map, and I saw that was a big debate also with trios, and I felt the same way. When we played trios, we had a couple of engagements right off the rip, and then there was really nothing. They did release some stats to say that they had 9 million runners killed, and there was 16 million total deaths. So that means there's about 7 million players that died to bots. Now, I was definitely a victim of bots a couple of times playing solos as a rook. I don't know if they were counting that or not. But in my rook runs, I felt like that was, you had to really play careful. You can see here this thing is so aggressive. Like, it really is causing me to back up. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like teams were dying before they would even, get into the mid game or the end game, and you would never just kind of run across players. So I don't know if that's what they want. Do they want the bots to be like extremely powerful, and that you have to take them as like a severe threat, causing other players to just have the whole map to themselves? It's very PvE focused if that's the case, and I just don't know if that's what people want with this game. Arc Raiders is obviously very PvE focused at the moment. You can get into friendly lobbies and just end up, farming the lobbies. So now we're 9 minutes. This is the only extract that's left, so I just wanted to double check. I get this scan, I can see a whole lot of enemies, call in the extract, and there's obviously no like real players in there because this is just a group of enemies and they slowly kind of start pushing out. And again, I'm just going to hold the angle. There's no point going back in there. I've already been in there and looted. So that's pretty much the game. That's pretty much the experience. And in most solos that I played, this is a fairly standard experience. This is what happened pretty much each time, where I would kill the first runner that I came across, I would loot their stuff, I would run around the map kind of for another 15 minutes. I wouldn't really find anything where I'm like, oh my god, this is like an insane piece of loot. And then I'd extract. Now, I don't know if that's just me not knowing the game, not knowing where to go, not knowing, what to look for, all those specific types of things. However, I feel like that's something they definitely need to have in mind, like to balance the solo experience, to make it really interesting. I'm sure things will change as I get more experience with the game. I'm excited to check it out. It's coming out on Friday. for us Aussies, and we'll see how we go. So yeah, here's the stats. You can easily see here. No, I did not get credit for that elim. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like and subscribe.